Well, Bob, I mean, the result's one thing, but the overall situation is another. I mean, we've posed some difficult questions today for the owner of the club to try and justify what's going on. I mean, there was a wall of silence after the game, apart from Joe Kinnear, who came out afterwards. And we've got 2 more weeks left this transfer window. Nobody coming in, loads of injuries, and getting close at the relegation zone. How do you sum it up?
Well, I think the result yesterday, I said before the game, it would have been nice to get 3 points because that would ease the situation a little bit. But the fact that we did get beat, it's brought it to a crisis.
Yeah.
And I think, having been involved with Newcastle for all these years, it does happen. You get a crisis, and that result was probably a little bit of the crisis, and it will make something happen. The fact that the Chronicle was having a little bit of a go at asking questions, that's a result of not getting a result on Saturday. So I think, in a way, the bad result on Saturday was a good thing because something has got to happen. And I think, I think the biggest problem with most people, most supporters, Lee, is that just lack of information. Mm-hmm. We read one thing, Joe's saying certain things, but we don't know exactly what's going on. And I think somewhere along the line, the club needs to come out and say, this is what we're trying to do. And I think if they tell us what they're trying to do, mm-hmm. I think people we might not like what we hear. Lee, I've got to say, it might be Mike. I think he is a businessman. He's trying to get the club running properly. I appreciate that. And on that side, I'm on his side. Mm-hmm. If he's trying to run the business, get the club, and steady the ship, I'm all for that. I've got nothing against Mike Ashley on that. But I think what he needs to do, someone needs to tell us exactly what his plan is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a bit of a surprise that's actually got this after, because 4 weeks ago before the Liverpool game, he came out in his programme notes and he said, this is a fresh start. We're taking the club off the market. We will look to work with Joe Kinnear to get some funds in to bring players. 4 weeks down the line, and it's all doom and gloom again. The team haven't won. We're out the FA Cup to Hull City reserves, and yes, there was some good things that happened in the first half of the game on Saturday, but overall, if you get beat 3-0, that's irrelevant for me.
Well, yeah, I think what he did say, you're right, some weeks ago he came out and he said that he'd work with Joe, but I think maybe a little bit more explanation on that. And I think really Joe is saying that he's saying to the fans, you don't understand how difficult it is. Well, I think I can say I've been there, I know how difficult it is, and I can understand what he's saying. But I just think a little bit more clarity about what they're trying to do, and I think that would help. It would certainly, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not a fanatical fan, I think I'm sensible, been around long enough to sort of have the experience of saying I can see what they're trying to do, but I think people need to be told, and I think that would alleviate a lot of the aggravation, if you like, from the fans, of which there is, Now,
the next thing I want to say, it's not my personal opinion, but the way the club is structured, we've got the Dennis Wise looking after the academy and all that kind of thing, and bringing in young players, and we know there's 3 trialists come in. Now, after all we've said, the academy is top of the table, and they're still going great guns in the FA Youth Cup. Now, that's obviously a positive thing. Are they focusing too much on the future? I mean, what about the now? That's got to be the...
Well, it's always a problem. I think in the old days, you go back to my day, I think, like, say, Joe Harvey was allowed to sort of to get time to bring players on. But because of the pressure, because of the financial pressure and the threat of relegation, I think, the first team is the most important one. And I remember Bob Stokely always said, never mind the reserves, it's the first team I want.
Yeah.
And he would actually go for getting good players because... regardless of what you've got behind the scenes, and again, I think the club's trying to do that right now. In fairness, to Dennis Wise, he's brought some decent players in. So let's not knock Dennis Wise. We might not like him or the fans might not like him as a person, but we don't know the job he's doing. But he seems to have done okay. He's brought Colaccini in, Basong, Gutierrez, not bad players. Now all we want is a few more of them. So I think that side of it's okay, but. And eventually that will come through, and I think that's the way forward, and I think maybe that's what Mike Ashley's trying to do. He's trying to say, right, I'm just going to try and get this business running as a business, and in a year's time, 2 years' time, we'll have some good kids coming through. That's great, but in the meantime, we've got to make sure we stay in the Premiership, and I think that's maybe where he might have to dip his hand in his pocket to say, right, Joe, I'll give you a few more quid to get some decent players.